like, this is what you're known for doing, like, on a skateboard. And then, like, going and starting to suck at things again and stuff. And then appreciating that and appreciating the suck, like, that's a hard thing to, like, I really appreciate the suck now. And, like, I was, like, there was, like, moments where I wasn't down with that. And it was, like, this, like, just
you didn't appreciate the suck.
No, and it was just like, I think it was like a deep ego thing. Like it was just like, I don't know. Yeah, I think like I'm like so hyped on skating on from all angles, you know. And I think that's the big. You just have to be a fan still. You have to be stoked. You have to be a fan, and you have to be a pupil still.
All right, we are back, huh? We're back at the 9 Club, everybody. Today we have a very special guest. Mr. Chris Russell is with us. How are you, dude?
Dude, I'm super stoked to be on here.
Bro, we're super stoked to have you here. Thank you so much.
Yes.
How's everything?
Pretty wild, honestly. Life's been crazy, but like lots of like the last week, I don't know, man. It's been crazy. Like,
what's been going on?
I just like, it was so weird. Like, been mentally kind of up and down. Just got injured about like 5 weeks ago, so I've been in the dumps, just kind of
Tampa Pro, right?
Tampa Pro, yeah. Finals run, skating. I think that was, dude, it was crazy. I didn't compete before that for like almost 4 years. So it was like coming out of a 4-year hiatus.
And you kind of grew up competing, right? You were like kind of in the circuits here and there.
Yeah, a little bit. I was like a
Vans,
yeah, for sure. But being like a castle kid originally, which so funny, so many like great people came from that weird era of skating, like the castle contests, like indoor bands, Orange County days. And that was kind of where I started skating contests a little bit. And then obviously that evolved into so many other things. But recently, like I think since COVID started, I hadn't competed in so long because a lot of things just kind of fell off. Like event wise, there wasn't a lot of transition stuff besides the Olympic things that were going on. And Tampa Pro popped up and they had the vert discipline. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna get in there and try to skate with all these dudes.
Would you go to Tampa Pro and do the outdoor bowl contest and stuff like that?
Yeah. I was planning on skating that one too.
Oh, you were? Okay.
I was. It was the same. I think it was the same day as the finals, or it was the day after. So it was like the day before was the pre-qualifier. Hadn't skated in so long, and I just kind of put it on the line and held on. Like made like 4 out of the 6 runs. I was so stoked. Like it was a super sick like the heat that we had was like Rune Glifberg was in my heat. I think was Tom Sharp in my heat too. It was like a really rad, dope. The energy was there. You know,
those dudes are sick.
Yeah,
so sick. And it was like,
do you get intimidated skating with those dudes or no? Is it like fun?
No, it's fun. I mean, I kind of grew up skating with Tom, like contest wise too.
He's a younger cat too, though, right?
Yeah, he's a few years younger than me. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you were skating like bowls and stuff a lot in like Washington Street. Like now you're skating vert. How different is that skating in a contest?
So I kind of grew up skating like big transition, big bowls. Like I grew up skating. I was like a combi kid. Like, funny enough, like I was born across the street from Van Skate Park, like that hospital right there.
Oh, in
Orange County.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in the parking lot or like
pretty much, yeah.
Like UCI.
Yeah. Right there. So I grew up skating the combi when it was like plaster and super gnarly, and then they had a vert ramp there, and I messed around with it a little bit, but I was always, I don't know, I always stuck to the concrete for some reason, and like I never got insanely comfortable on vert in my younger years, like compared to skating just big transition stuff,
right?
And then kind of the last few months, or I would say like, last few months, something clicked where I was just like, I just want to pad up and start skating vert. And I've been skating like with Jimmy Wilkins and Rob Lorfis and Shay Donovan and all those dudes a ton. And
because it is different, right? Bowls, you have lines that you do, right? You got to keep the momentum going, and this is coming from a guy that doesn't skate, but like the vert is kind of like a back and forth pump. You kind of have a back and forth vibe. It's not like a line vibe, right?
Yeah,
to a certain degree.
Well, yeah. So it's like a full like.
You're on a swing set.
Yeah, Navarrette says swing set.
Swing set, right?
You know? And it really is. Like, there is so much. It's almost like you do less and you get more out of it, you know? And if you start to kind of get away from that rhythm, you start to kind of, everything starts to fall apart. Okay. And then, like, when you're skating bowls and
you could recover.
You're always adjusting, you know? And you're always taking weird lines and kind of figure eighting or whatever. And so it's almost like you're doing a lot less, which is weird at first, but like you kind of see, I don't know, there's a sense of you get a lot more control under your board. And like start to understand kind of like you're like, oh, I don't really need to try so hard certain areas.
So
you know?
Coming from a bowl type to like a vert, there is an adjustment, and you're trying to get used to that, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but I feel like I've always kind of been able to like throw myself in an environment and be able to adjust relatively quickly, and like just being able to go for 3-4 days a week, pad up, and like go skate with those dudes and be surrounded by that, like that environment, dude. Like, dude, it's just been so sick. Like, those dudes are so fun to skate with, such good energy, and like just really inspiring.
I was about to say,
like, just insane. Like watching Tom right now skate a vert ramp is pretty insane. This is
your Tampa Pro run.
This is my final where I separated my shoulder right here.
So you separated it.
Yeah,
okay.
I separated my AC joint.
Oh, there it was.
Right there. I cracked my head so hard too. Like I almost went out, and yeah, I was so out of it.
How painful is that? I mean, I hear people breaking their collarbone but not separating it.
Not that bad. I've staged forward my right, and they measure the stage of the separateness from the step of your collarbone from the separate, because it never goes back. Your body just does a good job at filling collagen and scar tissue.
It bridges it.
It never goes back though. Okay. So like I've done my right side before, so kind of familiar with the sensation, and I knew. Right, I like rocked my head so hard though, where I was just like flashing lights, blah 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 blah. But I'm like, oh no, and I like try to lift my shoulder up. I'm like, yeah, it's like I rather broke my collarbone, or it's separated. And I kind of like knew it might. I was like, I think it's just separated. If it was broken, I would be probably not so chill right now. Right. But also, I was a ton of adrenaline, you know, like finals run. Just got super smoked, so like your body's dumping all those, like, you know,
for sure.
Yeah,
especially like when you're hurting from two different places. Your head got cracked and your shoulder. You're like, what am I focusing on right now?
Right. Yeah, it was gnarly. So I like went straight to the hospital, and we, the homie Daniel Cabral, who's the OJ team manager, he ended up driving me, and like we got a X-rayed. It was stage 4. And that was kind of it. And I was like, all right, flying back home. And we had this whole like a huge itinerary. We're doing a huge like OJ trip after filming. It was going to be like me and Jake Yanko. We're going to go skate like Kona, backyard pools, and like all this new shit. And it was so lame. And I was like, damn it, dude. Smoked again.
How amazing is Jake Yanko on a skateboard?
So sick.
It's incredible to watch that dude live.
He's a good dude. Yeah, he's very, very, and he can kind of skate everything.
He is an all-terrain vehicle, man. Yeah. He is just ATV.
So you're saying on this, you just have to post up. You don't no surgery.
No. Yeah, well, post up, but I've been living at the gym pretty much, and just like doing really repetitive workouts, pretty much, just like throwing a kettlebell in all sorts of directions, like not super heavy weight, like lots of like resistance band work. Now I can like do pull-ups and stuff, like in the sauna every day almost, just to kind of like get that blood flow up there, and just that's pretty much it. But the last like week and a half I've been starting to skate again, which I'm stoked.
There you go.
Oh, it's been that long. Huh? Yeah, it's been that long. since Tampa Pro.
Yeah, trip
Wow.
out, right? It's already been like almost been 6 weeks.
It's so funny because like you need your arms. I mean, not only for
Yeah,
like the
dude.
balance aspect, but they're moving around. You can't. There's only a few skaters that just skate with their arms down like this. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like you need that like
tremendously, bro.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Especially like I feel like in transition skating, you're always like, and if you watch me, I'm never like, I'm like the very least from like calm, like keep my arms down. Like I'm always moving my shoulders. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I kind of need those, you know? And it's like, that's your padding, like when you slam. So it's like, it's a little bit of, you gotta be, I'm a little, I wouldn't say like timid on my, I'm just being smart right now.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
You don't want to like fall back on it right just yet.
Yeah, not yet. You know, I'm like still sleeping on my side and waking up. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't feel too good yet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
Do you think are you the type of dude that's not going to do that trick again, or are you just going to get right back up on the horse and go for it?
No, that's like first thing. right when I get
First
back,
thing,
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna
go,
go you're gonna bust it. Yeah, okay.
go do
I love
that again.
Was that like a freak accident for you, kind of?
It just the day before I did it like perfectly, and like, dude, honestly, like I've rewatched the clip so many times. I was like, what the fuck happened?
It looks like you kind of like torqued out a little bit.
Well,
like
the
you
ramp-
over rotated it.
that ramp was so slick, and I didn't even over rotate it. My back foot, like I came in too fast, and I didn't move my like back foot up towards my bolts. Like I was kind of like already back foot was hanging on the tail end, and like whenever I do that trick, my like back foot drops. And if you watch it like from the angle I posted on like my Instagram, like you'll see my back foot almost comes completely off, and it sticks onto the like corner, and it starts to drive my board like this, and I'm like looking back because
Right.
I'm setting up for the wall. Like I wasn't gonna bail anything. Like there was that was like, all right, we're back. Like let's put it on the line right now, you know. And I wasn't gonna bail anything, so I was convinced that I was already rolling up the next wall, and that was not the case. Yeah.
Ronnie Sandoval, I believe it was. Remember he broke his kneecap or something,
that
and
was
he
horrible.
went
That was
right
super gnarly.
before he was even like 100% healed. He went right back to that spot and did the trick that kind of busted his knee.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I don't know if I'm that type of guy. I don't know if I think I would like stray away from whatever kind of put me out and take my time to build back up to that. No, I wouldn't just go straight back.
Yeah, it
into
was crazy, like how he broke his knee too. It was like kind of freak accident. Like, and funny enough, like first time I broke my ankle, freak accident too. Like those little things that you never expect. You've done a million times. Sometimes are the things that like just completely smoke you.
Or
And-
it's the ones that you're really not paying attention. You're goofing around. You're kind of just dorking around,
take
and
it
all
for
of a sudden,
granted.
boom, you're on
Yeah.
the ground and you're just hurt.
Yeah, so I mean, Ronnie is just a warrior. Like I kind of grew up skating with him at Channel Street. He grew up in Pedro. I
Yep.
grew up in Hermosa, like completely two different places. But that was like where we loved skating together, and I have like the utmost respect for that dude. Like he really holds it down on and off the board. Like really
Great dude.
genuine
He's a
human.
man.
He's
Yeah,
funny, dude.
He is.
He's the
funny.
man. Yeah.
He could do some imitations. He could do some. He could do some good. Who was he imitating
On what?
on the show?
No.
Remember, he was doing some imitations.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn, he also was on here.
Yeah.
Okay,
dude.
I gotta do my homework
Good-
then,
bro. Ronnie
I need to
is
do
the
my homework.
man.
But like 2019, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Dude.
cover Thrasher.
Nuts.
Dude,
Congrats.
I'm tripping
Yeah,
about
congrats.
that. Tripping about that still.
What's the story when you? What issue is this? What
Like just came out.
Just
Just came
came
out.
out?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
last one. Yeah.
What's the story behind this? Did you know you were going to get the cover? Who shot this thing? Are you?
Dude, this is so weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Please do. Go ahead, yeah.
Dude, this was so weird. The day before this came out, my buddy Siegel lives up in San Francisco. He was like visiting down in San Diego, and we're like grilling about like around the fire, and it's like, I'm like, dude, I don't know where my skate career is gonna go in the next 3 years. Like, I have no idea where life is taking me.
You were
But
having
dude,
you were having a moment.
What? Yeah, but I was like, I've been having a lot of those lately. But I was like, dude, like whatever happens, like I gotta get the cover one day. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if it'll ever happen though. Like, I was like, dude, it's so hard. Like right now, I mean, it's the only print mag we got left, dude.
Totally.
Yeah.
And everybody's hungry, and like the level's never been like higher, honestly.
Straight
So I
up.
was just like, that was the day before. It was so weird. It was the day before that, and I'm like, wake up, feel like really good that morning for some reason, like post the last little bit of like the Japan footage that we dropped for our new Creature video, and then I like refresh the gram, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, what is that? And I was like, dude, I'm like, what the what the I started literally crying. Like I couldn't even talk. I was like, I just started like crying, like bawling
Wow.
tears.
Wow.
And I was like, what the hell, dude? Are you kidding me right now?
Just the night before, you were
The
having
night
a moment.
before, I was like, I don't think this is ever going to happen. Dude, I swear, it was the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
Wow.
And I'm like, 2 seconds later, my buddy who I was talking to, he calls me, and I'm like, he's like, call me back when you finish crying, like, whatever. He's like, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And I called my like parents up, and randomly, this was just like me and Chris Gregson are kind of working on a backyard pool project right now. And Burnett's been super stoked to come on the missions. And
That is so sick, bro.
yeah, dude, it's been rad, man. I feel like really stoked to have like support like from Chris Gregson, and like I grew up kind of, he actually helped me a lot growing up. He's seen me since I was like 14, you know, till who I am now, maybe even younger, like 13. And man, I'm stoked that Burnett was like so down to come and like shoot some photos. Like the last like few months, he's been super stoked on coming out and doing some stuff.
How long ago was this? Like
That was-
to actually end up on the cover. I know they're like like a month or two ahead, maybe.
Yeah, I think we shot that probably like, that was like probably right before Tampa, like
Okay.
or maybe like a few weeks before, like maybe that's 2 months ago. I'm so bad at tracking time. Yeah.
No worries.
Did you have
What
an
a great
idea?
shot, dude.
Did you have an idea that like, oh, you want to use that photo for something like an ad or?
Interview?
No, not at all.
Just- all right.
We're just shooting. Like, because I was just like, this whole year I've been like, I'm working on a ton of things right now. I kind of have a pretty big timeline. I got like 11 minutes I'm working with right now. I'm
Damn, there you
stoked.
go.
Yeah.
Bro, shit.
I'm
Solid.
like, I don't know what. Well, I have an idea. We're doing a OJ part at the end of the year. That's gonna coincide, I think, with an article. I'm pretty sure. So just kind of, I'm like, I just throwing everything I can just in the fire right now. Just stacking. That's the only thing that's really planned at the moment.
Right.
But I'm like, strike while the iron's hot, and like,
Oh, dang.
you know, while there's momentum. And you know, I'm 27 right now. I'm not getting any younger. I'm like feeling really mentally and physically healthy right now, and I'm just like, this is the year. Let's get after it.
I love that. That's a great mentality to
Yeah.
have,
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because you said you grew up in Hermosa? No, Huntington? What?
Hermosa Beach. Yeah. The
So-
other HB.
The other HB. little closer,
the OG
closer than the
HB.
other HB to here.
To here.
us.
Yeah. Super close to here.
Right.
Yeah.
You growing up skating, I mean, obviously we're in SoCal, like skating is kind of the thing up here, but where did you, because you didn't even get into skating, you were on a trip somewhere, weren't you?
No, it was here, but
Okay.
it also was, you know, I think the real catalyst was like going to the Northwest and seeing those concrete parks. Like, I had a skateboard, I was riding it a little bit, I knew how to do the basics, I knew how to drop in, I knew how to like kick turn.
Okay.
But I think I was 7 years old. We took a family trip up to Seattle, and that's where my uncle lived. My uncle grew up skating. He grew up down, like, he was like skating like Del Mar back in the day. Like, so he's young. When he was younger though, like the bitter end of it. And he brought me to this park. It was called Arlington. It's a super cool, sick transition park up there. And at my time, like my 7-year-old brain, I knew of Hermosa Beach Skate Park, and that was kind of it. And
No parks down here are built like parks up there.
No.
Yeah.
Nowhere really.
So
like
that caught your attention.
that was it. That was like it's so weird. I distinctly remember and have the memory of just like, I'm like, this is it. I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. Like soccer, kick rocks, like taekwondo, backseat. Like it was just like, there was just this like pull. And I was like, this is what I'm doing.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like our brain just clicks. Like I think it happens to a lot of skaters where you're just like, this is it. This is my calling almost.
So weird, right?
And, you're in Arlington, like skate park. Wherever
Yeah.
Seattle?
So random.
Seattle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was like outskirts of Seattle. It was not directly in the city.
This is it right here.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's what turned you
Like,
on.
literally like dropping
This
in.
would turn me off, dude. I'm just a different type of skater.
Dude, and it was so funny because I think it was even on that same trip. Like I watched Born Dead like the first time, like the Creature videos, like the first Creature video. Like the first Creature video that like came back after like the resurrection of Creature. And there's like a ton of clips of like Navs and Parts and Sam here.
Oh, this is meant to be, bro.
And I was just like,
crazy.
it was like so weird. It like all kind of like definitely formed me into kind of where my interests were and like what I'm doing kind of today.
Isn't that funny?
It's definitely.
Is it true? Like I did hear this one thing that you were like a really gnarly like kid and you would snake a lot of people and you got like you got taught a lesson.
Oh yeah, dude. That was just typical. Too hyped for my own good like child. Like
What happened?
Well, it was so funny because I learned like, I eventually learned. It was definitely I don't think I learned quick, but I learned like, okay, I can't be doing this shit anymore. Like it was all my heroes, like there was like Grasso and Hosoi and like Hewitt, dude, they hated me when I was like young. But it was funny, like there was I think an underlying of like respect because I wouldn't leave, and I also like kind of skated a little bit above my age range. Like I always liked kind of some of the more old school kind of approach to skating,
Which
like,
they probably respected the hell out of. Too.
yeah, but they would
very
never, they
rare.
would never say that to me at that. It's like I was like, dude, I was so annoying. I was the worst. But also at the same time, I was so stoked, and I was so like, I don't know, I just like had the fire in me, and there was this like little thing in me. I was like, you guys will respect me like one day, and like they ended up. My heroes became my friends,
Right.
And it was like, it's funny how that worked, but definitely, dude, there was a massive amount of, like, not even hate, but just like being like, dude, like chill out. Like, what are you doing? And like, just cause I was like so hungry,
You caught that vibe and you were like, well, I gotta. Like,
it wasn't even just that vibe. Like they were like, they were vocal about
They're
it.
constantly saying something.
Of course, dude. Like Grasso used to be like, oh, fuck. He used to call me the nemesis, dude. He'd be like, the nemesis is here. And like Navs was like kind of the bridge, because Navs was like, I kind of like that though. Navs kind of bridged that. I don't know. I think as I got older, I started to be more nuanced in the pecking order and understand respect and understand like the history and understand that like, okay, like dude, this is obnoxious. Like, yeah, nobody likes this. And I was getting older to the point where like it was happening to me from like the little kids. And I was like,
You're like,
okay,
that is me.
I'm
Oh my
starting to
God.
understand. And that's also like, I'm so much like nicer about like that. Like if like some kids try, like I try to be very like, hey, like, but they were ruthless about it.
Is that just what it is? Just like literally being hungry and wanting attention? You think?
I think that, and it's also like I was out of it though too. Like I was such a spaz, and so like I think I was so wrapped up in charging that like I also just didn't care and wasn't even thinking about it. Like I was just like so stoked, like going for it. So there was a mix between like me being kind of like blind to it, but also yeah, I just think being like a little kid and not understanding. And
do you have the same conversations with kids now?
not so much. I tend to skate places where like that doesn't happen too much, but every once in a while, yeah. And I try to be like really nice about it, but I also like I'm like a pretty approachable dude, and usually people don't want to snake me either. Like I don't think it's usually not like the case, but like it's like every once in a while, like, but it's so mellow. Like it's never like how it was for me, you know. It was just like a different funny time too, you know.
You just wanted to get at it.
Right. Yeah.
That's all that mattered.
That's why I trip out. Like there's only one person on the ramp at a time, pretty much, right? Like, or in the bowl.
Yeah.
You're not really, there's not really too many people at the same time, is there?
So like that kind of, I mean, dude, I love that shit though. Like jam
death match.
Yeah, the jam sessions are dope. Like that, funny enough, I'll get into a little bit of a funny time in transition skating, like where it really molded me as well was like the trifecta days of like Oregon trifecta.
Okay.
It's like low key, kind of not a huge contest series, but like really, 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 really good skateboarders, like really good transition skating. Like that's like young Kevin Kowalski, young like Brad. I don't know if you guys know who Brad McLean is, but he was like Northern Cal. Yeah, so sick, you know. And watching those dudes, it was just such a cool time in transition skating. It was like that. The Florida Bull Rider is like just like these like kind of smaller contests, but like, dude, some of the best like transition skating around. And it like really molded me. And like funny enough, like I was skating those contests when I was pretty young too.
How old do you think? 12, 13?
12. Yeah. They changed the rules because of me at 1 year, because I remember like it was at Pier Park and I ended up getting like third place like at the trifecta, and I beat dudes like twice my age, and they were not happy about that. People were not happy, and they like made it, because it was funny. It wasn't like the pro division was like kind of based on skill. There wasn't a age thing. It was like, cool, you're good enough. Like, and here's me, padded up, like super long hair, look like a little girl pretty much, and I'm like doing like front tail reverts like in the deep end and like
destroying,
squeezed into that top 3 mark. And like, dude, people complained after, and it was funny because it was like under World, I think it was World Cup of Skate was the organization for those contests. That was kind of like those few years I was like skating some AM contests and stuff again. And
what was the rules they made though?
I think it was an age range. It was like, if you're not 16, like no way. And it was like 16 plus skill or something. It was something weird like that. It was just like, they're like, we can't have this happen.
So you weren't 16 at the time?
I was like 12
13.
when that happened. Yeah, 12 or 13.
So did you get to enter the next year or something? I mean, you couldn't enter that, obviously, if you had it.
No, it was like I just didn't really skate pro contests until I was like 16 again. It was like just kind of that was it. And
wow,
yeah, it was pretty funny.
It's just like one and done.
So I've been pissing people off for a long time.
It's so funny because you're like the nicest dude.
Yeah,
you know,
we can tell right here.
But on the board, you're an animal.
Yeah, I think also getting older and stuff and kind of shedding some things. Like I think like in my early 20s, it was definitely in a different spot, man.
Okay.
Like, dude, like, I mean, be honest, like full like alcoholic dude, just really kind of gnarly, just didn't treat everybody around me the best, you know, and definitely didn't like squandered opportunity a little bit. Like squeaked by, like definitely wasn't irrelevant, wasn't not skating, wasn't like not producing things, but just kind of bare minimum and just kind of like not doing, you know, what was truly like authentic to me and like what was like really my direction. And like in a lot of ways, like I feel like there's like, you know, I feel really bad and like how I navigated certain environments, you know, and just because you're just like, I grew up super fast. I grew up around that. And then, you know, it's all fun. And then it kind of becomes a problem. You don't even know it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what was the turning point? Because you're sober now, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been sober?
Since November 2022, November 11th, 2022.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Stoked, dude.
Amazing,
Yeah,
dude.
man. Yeah.
So what was the turning? What was the nail on the head?
Just wasn't working anymore.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Like, it felt repetitive. It wasn't necessarily like this huge, like, bad thing happened, but I think there's just like kind of a culmination of bad things that happened throughout the years of partying that people kind of don't acknowledge, or you kind of ignore. You're like, oh, that was whatever. And there was like a lot of those moments where I probably should have taken that as like a pretty big sign, be like, yo, you need to check in with yourself and like kind of see where you're at and like maybe acknowledge these things that might be impeding on what's really important in front of you. And yeah, I mean, I think it just took a lot. Like, there was just, you know, funny enough, like, broke my ankle twice in 1 year, and like the second time I broke it was like really, really bad. And dude, still didn't learn my lesson. But funny enough, it was like kind of polishing it every year, and it took so long though. Like, that happened like when I was like 21, I think, and now I'm 27, and it took like almost 5 years of just like, you know, each year kind of shedding it a little bit, because it latches on. And there's so many things that are coinciding with it, like your identity, to your friend group, to how people are going to perceive you without alcohol and like and substances and stuff, and all these things that kind of are playing in your head. And then like you're like it's just so weird. There's so many layers to that.
It's also like a mental battle as well.
And it's terrible. It's a mental battle. And you're like, fuck, I'm like kind of reliant on this, you know? And I think there was like a few things, you know, there was that happened. And then like the big step, I think, that really changed my trajectory and like kind of how I treated myself was Jiu Jitsu, honestly.
Because you're big into that right now, right?
I love that. Yeah. And a few other skaters actually also as well. Dylan Wicken and Riley Hawk, you know? Yeah. I see you guys, you know? me and Riley train together and stuff. So like, but I haven't trained with Dylan yet, but he seems like he's probably a powerhouse on the mats, you know?
Did you like start the jiu-jitsu before you got sober, or that was like after?
So funny enough, I think it was... Dude, like, sobriety is so weird, and like it flip-flops so hard. Like, dude, like stints. Like, so I did like 7.5 months, and that's kind of like when I started. And then like I kind of started partying again, and it wasn't like, didn't feel terrible, but it was like honestly, I had a really fun year following that after. But it still was just like, you know, I'm just like kind of, I'm not doing as much as I can, you know? And it kind of, it kickstarted like a lot. Like, I've always kind of had a little bit of discipline in my life, always a little bit of like that inner voice, you know? And it kind of comes from my pops and just kind of how I was raised. But like kind of first 7.5 months of training, I was sober, then kind of flip-flop back in. Had a really fun year, like had like the probably...
What do you mean flip-flop back in? What do you...
Just like, kind of like just started partying again.
Okay.
Yeah, just started partying again.
And like jump like fully back in? Or
yeah, fully.
Like,
but like, it was different. It definitely wasn't as much, you know, and then went out to Europe, had like a great time, had the best time of my life. Like lived out there for 3 months pretty much. And it was like the best, and it was fun, and it was actually kind of productive, but it was also crazy, and it was fun, but it was so fun. And I kind of was like, I don't think it's ever going to get like better than that. It was so beautiful, and like everything fell into place. And at the same time, I was just kind of like, you know what, man? I'm like, I think it's just like time to close the books. I'm just like, what else am I trying to get out of this? Like, if it's not like, if I can't like keep growing, there's nothing there for me to grow in. Like, I'm not progressing on this isn't helping my skating or being a better human.
When you fully gave it up, did you notice like this huge shift in like your skateboarding and just your life in general?
I think so, because I think it's like the indecisiveness isn't quite as there, you know, like this time it feels a lot more solidified, you know,
You just go for it.
like it's just like, you know, there was all sorts of factors of like bad relationships and
Right.
other things that kind of coincided with flip-flopping, right? And like this time around it's like very purely through me, you know, and it's kind of like been, I don't know, like there's just been too many. I think also come to the realization, like I like skating, I like doing jiu-jitsu. I also kind of picked up rock climbing a little bit, and I'm like, if I want to do all these things, like this, there's no room for this. Like I'm already like so spread thin, like no room for this. And that's like all I want to do, you know, like that's all I want to do for the rest of my life, you know. And if I can, we'll see.
Congrats,
You know?
bro.
Congrats.
I
Like,
love the attitude.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? You talked about Navarrette being cool to you when you were a kid at the you know, when you were snaking everybody, and he was the catalyst for you getting on Creature, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. I think
Did he take you under his wing at all, or would he just?
yeah, pretty much.
What a dude to have under
Yeah.
being under his wing.
Oh,
Yeah, no doubt. It started with getting rep flow through Heavy Metal Chuck. Shout out Chuck.
Okay,
Dude. You're
yeah.
always he's always been in my corner. He's the man. Like he's still like he's like, dude, tell your mom what's up.
Sick.
He's sick. Yeah, he's the homie. He was giving me boards before that. Just I think it was like a few boards a month. Nothing crazy, but that was like huge for me. I was so stoked. And that was, yeah, I was like, man, I'm getting Creature boards. Chuck ended up getting let go from being a rep. And then I think I was riding, oh, you know what? And then I got like, I think I got some label boards or something, or I was riding, excuse me, sorry.
So the Creature boards, the Creature boards, when Chuck left, they were just gone. So you just
Yeah, I was like,
didn't know who to
fuck.
call.
Well, I was like, I'll ride a label board. I think like I forgot who somebody gave me a Creature board or a label board, sorry. And I rode Combi one day, and Navs was there, and he looked at it. He's like, he's like, what is that? And I'm like, it's a skateboard. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's like, why are you not riding like? I'm like, dude, Chuck got fired. Like, I'm not, you know, I got nobody. He's like, dude, I'll give you boards. I think, dude, I might have the first board he ever gave me still. Like, I never rode it. It was an old Stu Graham. Like an 8.9. He's like, go trade this in. And I'm like, I'm not trading this in. It's an 8.9. It was like an 8.9.
How old are you at this point?
I was like 14, 13. I think, no, I was 13.
Jesus Christ, bro.
And it was like, yeah, it was like an 8.9, and I was like, I'm not gonna trade it. I'm like, this is like, I'm keeping this. And it was a super cool board. It was like a skeleton playing a banjo, like super tasteful.
Rad.
And that was kind of the evolution of like how that started. He started like taking me under his wing. He started giving me boards every month, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna pass you on to Lee Sharon. Lee Sharon kind of helped start Creature back up again, and did a lot of like the cool stuff like Born Dead and black metal. And I think I met Lee when I was 14, or I might have been 15. And it was like right when all like the Dead Comedian boards came out, because I really liked those. And I remember, and it was like that I met Lee, and that was like kind of what solidified me. And I was like kind of not, I wasn't am yet, but I was kind of in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then like I think it was even like maybe less than a year later, I filmed like a whole, like it was like a Fiend part thing, like a backyard pool thing. And that was it. And that was kind of like what kind of grew, you know?
So you've been with Creature for, oh man, how many?
Half of my life.
Half of your life.
Over half of my life.
14, 15 years.
It's crazy to think about, right? Like 14 years.
Dude.
Wow.
I'm
Were
like,
you sending sponsor me tapes the whole time too? Or like
No,
like,
no.
before you got on though, like you just skating with them, and that was
no,
what kind of got
I
you
never,
hooked up?
I never sent a sponsor me tape ever. Like that was just always like everything kind of always naturally happened.
Like just out on skating on sessions and just
Skating contests and talking to people and just kind of doing that, you know? Like, yep, that was
That's
the
series.
That was the series that was like right at the same time. I was like riding one of those boards, and it was yeah, I remember like Lee coming to like the San Jose. It was like the San Jose contest, the Tim Brosh like invitational, and it was like he watched me skate, and I think he was super stoked. And I was riding one of those boards, and yeah, that was kind of it. It kind of like started this solidification of me being on Creature. Yeah,
Sick.
That's rad.
Yeah.
14 years.
14 years.
Get him.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, man. And it's so weird to think about when I was like a little kid, being like, this is the brand I want to ride for.
To be honest, though, it's like you fit that like to the T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you were just like even from seeing the first skate park, that crazy park in Seattle, like even just from then, it's almost like that's a Creature park, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's a park that
That was his calling, bro.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, things kind of fell into place.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn.
So weird. Yeah,
So-
life's a trip, man.
Dude, life's a trip.
Well, how does it feel? I mean, being a street skater and going to skate spots, there's always this vibe when you go there of like, with the locals and stuff. How was it being a kid growing up skating? Like those bowls or any of those parks are gnarly. Like going to Burnside and all those places.
So like the DIY scene's always kind of held that down more than anywhere else. Like DIY and the pool scene. Like pool scene always has like yeah, people beef if like they found the pool and they cleaned it up and like you somehow sneak your way in there and like kind of like dude, there's like full like fisticuffs being thrown over that. But also the same at like the DIY scene and DIY parks kind of the same way. Not as gnarly as it used to be, especially Burnside. Like the parking lot's gone. It's like luxury apartments now there.
Oh, no way.
So, but it's like it still has its like a little bit of grit, like the younger generation holds it down and stuff. But I mean, yeah, dude. Always like I think I kind of grew up just with kind of a rowdy crew of kids, and on the rowdier side. So I never felt out of place in that type of scene, especially like at Channel and stuff. Everybody held their own. Everybody was vocal. Everybody was really close though too. And like, so going to different places like Burnside and stuff, it felt very comfortable. Burnside was probably that was always like, even today, like you go down there, there's always some fucking weird activity, and I would say 90% of the time, it's not like really the skaters like or whatever. It's more the lurkers. But dude, I think it's Portland as well. But I remember we were filming the In Transition there. Like this was years ago, dude. That was like 10 years ago. Damn, so crazy. And I remember like filming down there, and I'm friends with all the locals and stuff, and like still almost getting down every day because we were just like filming, and there was always like this thing of like don't feel like who gave you permission to film down here, and it was always the dudes like who probably smoking rock and like claim that they build the place, but it was like really not the case. Honestly, it was almost the last little bit of that. Like there was like, I think those luxury apartments got thrown up maybe like started construction maybe like they've been there for a while now.
Okay.
And as soon as that parking lot was kind of gone, like the vibe changed significantly. Yeah, dude, that parking lot brought a lot of chaos with it. It was pretty fucking funny. Like the stories, the old footage of like fools, like I don't know if you guys ever seen the clip of the dude driving like the Ducati up the bank wall, but
It sounds
That's not
familiar.
yeah.
if there's a clip of that, and apparently I forgot who was driving that, but some like goober brought down their Ducati down to the parking lot. Like, I don't know why. And it was like, he got bullied off of his fucking
And somebody jumped on it and rode it
and
up
then
the
just
thing?
gunned it and like
And they sent it.
dude, it got like the thing got yeah.
Like,
Dude,
When
and
did you find it, Raj?
And, Raj-
He's looking.
it's easy. I think it should come, but it's like randomly. It probably is like, dude, you probably could find it in one of the love letters videos, probably to Burnside. It probably is in there. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully I got that story right. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I'm 99% sure that went down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was so much of that stuff. And given I didn't grow up there, like that was just all this stuff's passed on to me, you know? So, but there was always that energy loomed through Burnside, and still, even to this day, it still kind of does, but it's very like, it's a lot more kid friendly.
What's your favorite DIY to go to?
Probably Washington Street, you know?
Yeah.
Washington Street's definitely like, I think it's the hardest, it's one of the hardest places probably to skate, like in skateboarding.
Why?
It's just so big. It's big, and it's not so big. It's so just gnarly. Like how everything is built down there, nothing is friendly. Like nothing is friendly.
Like you got to be on point.
Very. Like, I mean, I've even like taken I've taken a few weeks from like riding that place, and I'm just like kind of not really like paying attention, and I carved the pocket all weird, and I've just gotten like pitched. Like it's so funny. Like that place will smoke you.
Right.
And like not a lot of people skate it consistently. Like only like I haven't even been skating it consistently this year, but I mean, me and like a handful of people, like Brandon Perlson's another one. He's like one of the OGs that holds it down there, and he skates it so sick. He has like the best lines there, and but like it's not friendly, and it's not somewhere you want to like skate alone, because
just in case you get
just in case a Ducati bike is going up,
just in case a Ducati ends up in there. No, I've seen people go there who definitely they're like, oh, what's this like? I heard about the skate park, and I'm like, just because you got a skateboard doesn't mean you probably should be riding.
Wow. It's funny, right? It's kind of like it's a skate park, but it's not really a skate park.
Not really.
It might not be for you.
You have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched people just like fold their arms going over the little like our little snake Twinkie that we have to like use for speed. You know, because everything is it's rugged.
Who built it?
I mean, so many people.
I always just trip out how they could like maintain those parks. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like cleaning it up and all that stuff. I mean, like someone has to be. I don't think the city's really doing that, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, I mean the city never allowed it in the first place. Like it was just like, and then like now there's grace and like, oh yeah, we like see the importance of like these spaces and stuff, which they are. They're so like, dude, every time a DIY park's put somewhere, I mean, it just kind of cleans the area up, and it like gets people to like be stoked.
Well, Channel Street went through a whole debacle.
Yeah.
Of trying to get that play in the city and all this stuff. And they had like barricades in there for a long time. They just finally like opened it up.
Yeah. It was insane. I mean, almost 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. And that was like kind of a huge catalyst for me wanting to kind of just get out of LA too, because I skated there so much. I mean, all of us did. Like Ronnie,
I feel like you could get trapped in a certain degree. Like you could get trapped at a park that you like love, and you won't leave. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. It was more or less so. That place was so cool because the community aspect, and I think everybody was so good. I think for sure you're definitely right on that. But what I will say is everybody was pushing themselves, like each other, so much, and it was so rad. And the energy that it was just, I don't know. You don't get that all the time, like where everybody just kind of can cultivate to one area, and it was so big too. Like by the end, like, or where it is now, like there's just a lot to skate there. So everybody would kind of session something different, and we're all kind of like transition purists, you know, at heart. And so like that was like kind of our home, and we would nerd out there and like try stuff. And I'd be watching Ronnie, and like, dude, he was just on another level. And everybody there though, like everybody, there's like the singer, everybody's got like a really good backsmith grind. This skates Channel Street. Like that's like, that's like the
trick that stands
that's
out.
the coveted, like everybody got a good backsmith. Like,
what about Daewon? I'm seeing Daewon there.
Daewon, yeah, for sure. I was actually just talking to him. I was like, yo, let's go skate, Jen. He's like, oh, I'm with my daughter. But dude, it was so funny, like seeing him skate there, and Chris, like I remember this one session there. It was him, Chris Haslam, Rune Glifberg, and I think actually Stu Grant might have been there that day too. And I was just like watching those dudes, and I was like, blown away. And like Daewon skates that place so unique and cool. Like his in transition there is so sick because it's different. Like he just skates that dude. I mean, that guy just skates different. Like
look at his truck bouncing around and stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Unbelievable, bro.
So sick, man. Like he's so cool.
He's the
he
best.
skates like no other. That's for sure.
Dude, like that wall right there sucks. Like,
He's just a blunt kickflip.
like yeah, like, and channel is super tight. Like it's not like Washington Street where there's a lot of open space. Like this place, it's tight and it's
Small.
quick
Okay.
and like.
Look at that.
So sick, dude.
And that's just in the parking lot, right?
Also
Yeah.
so gnarly. Like that part of the wall is so hard to skate. Like
He's just
fun to watch.
He's fun to watch.
He's
He's just
meant to-
good.
he's meant to ride
He's
that
good at
skateboard,
everything,
bro.
man.
Do you skate there? You say you're down in San Diego right now, but do you come up and skate there every now and then, or?
Yeah, it's been a motivation to come up here because it's open again. And like also my family, my dad was like living here for up until like this last few months. So come stay with him, see friends. I come train jiu-jitsu up here. Like funny enough, like South Bay has a super deep jiu-jitsu history. Like the first place where jiu-jitsu was taught in America.
Is
And
it Hoist Gracie or the Gracies?
the
or no?
Machados and the Gracies.
Machados, yes.
Yeah. So, and funny enough, like Chris Howder, who's part of the Dirty Dozen, like first 12 American black belts, still has his space in South Redondo. And I want to say, like, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody online, but like that is the first place where jiu-jitsu was taught, was like literally in his backyard, like right there.
Wow.
And yeah, super crazy, so cool and so random, like just super rad though. And he has this awesome little space called the Combat Base, and like every Sunday he does like an open mat there. So
That's sick.
yeah, super cool, a lot of history.
How'd you get into doing jiu-jitsu?
My dad trained under Bob Bass, another Dirty Dozen alumni, and he got his purple belt through him. And I kind of trained like I didn't really get it. Like I thought it was something that I was going to be able to kind of coast through. Like when I was younger, I was like 16. I took some classes. Like my buddies who were punkers and who I looked up to, also who skated, all trained under Bob as well. And then I was like, I think like it was like so funny. Like my mind was so fixated on skateboarding and going outside the country though. Like I think I was about to do like my first Europe trip, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna like be good at it, just be like and coast through it and like not give that much energy. And it's like I was dead wrong. I didn't get it at all, and like my mind was completely like locked in on skating. And then recently, like because I started like 4 years ago, my buddy Archer Braun, he was like, dude, like I started training, like you should come train. Started training with him. And like it kind of just like blossomed from that, because I just felt like something was missing, right? Like I needed something a little bit extra in my life right now. Like skateboarding's amazing, of course, but like need just a little bit more of like a push and just something just to freshen up.
Sure. Another outlet always helps in that sense.
Totally. And like, oh man, like the community that it brought, and kind of like the mental fortitude and just all these other things that coincided with doing that, like it was so positive. It was just a given that I wasn't gonna was like gonna stay, you know.
Sick.
Yeah. And this year I haven't been able to train quite as much. Like I've been so skate heavy, so I've been kind of graceful with myself on that, you know. But I think
also dealing with the injury as well.
injuries and stuff, you know, it's like pretty hard thing to do when you're injured, and like it's so it can be pretty grueling on your body already. And like everything I like, sadly, isn't very gentle on myself, you know. So yeah, so like this year it's been a lot more chill, but still just like if you want to do something forever, you got to be smart about it. And like kind of it's been going in and out when I can. And now I'm training under Joel Tudor and Majid Hage at Surf Fight, and that's literally family right there, you know? And yeah, it's been super rad, dude. Just a very like unique environment.
Speaking of injuries, we got to talk about the eye. Because that wasn't even like skate related, right? That was like, what was it? Firework related or something like that? What? It was at Swampfest last year, correct?
Yeah.
What happened
It
there?
happened a year ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, the whole thing was so, dude, it happened so quick. I like was out on that Swampfest event, pretty nuts. Like, funny enough, like kind of doing, like just kind of like doing crazy shit. Like I jumped off the castle and stuff, and I was like trying to do like this loop, this like not even non-skate.
What are we jumping in the
shit.
castle to in?
And like 4 feet of water, and so it was gnarly. And like all the things that I could have gotten hurt on, like it's crazy that like
It was
somebody threw a fucking mortar, and that was like what took me out. And
So-
it was like so gnarly too, because it was the end of the day, and it was just kind of like end-ish of the day. Skated, did all this shit. I'm like, I'm gonna go chill, and won't name any names. A pretty unsavory character I'm not buddies with anymore, threw a mortar and like threw it outside of the canister shell, like because they shoot like 100 feet in the air,
right.
you know?
We're talking about the ones that go in the thing and then they shoot up and big firework.
Yeah And it came back and exploded in my eye. Like part of it exploded in my eye.
Wait. So
And-
he threw it into a crowd?
Yeah, he threw it like probably 70 feet away.
Wow.
Watching it, he's standing next to me too. It's like could have hit him too. And man, yeah, dude, it happened so fast. It literally, and it happened, and I like just dropped to my knees. Like it was like that pit of something. Like if you ever broken a bone, like you kind of know that that feeling of like just deep
Pit of the stomach.
just pit of the stomach.
This
Yeah,
isn't
look
right.
at
This isn't
I mean,
right.
it's madness. We're watching a video
Dude, this
here
is
of
insane.
Swampfest,
so
and people
insane.
are
Like
shooting off fire. It's insane.
yeah, and like, dude, even me, like, I was shooting fireworks too, and like, I put myself at that event. Like, I have to take responsibility for being somewhere where, you know, given people aren't really there, like, looking out for your best interests. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's kind of like
Shit
it's
can happen.
chaotic. You know,
Sure.
so
So this mortar comes back at you
yeah.
and blows up in your face, or
So
you
it
got
was-
a remnants of
It was
something?
like, yeah, it was like the secondary explosion. It wasn't the main explosion. I probably would not have an eye if that was the
Wow.
case. But it was enough to where like it dropped me. I grabbed my like face, and I just like knew something so bad happened. I knew like right away, and I like opened my eye and it was black. Couldn't see anything. It was done. And the ambulance dude, the medic dude came over, looked at my eye, and he's like, oh my God. He's like, you need to go to the hospital right now. And I'm like, get rushed to trauma like right away. Like I go to the ER first, because it's like, that was, I don't know why they thought like maybe going to the ER for, and then they looked at me and they're like, oh my God, like you need to go to trauma right now. And
Where is
it was-
trauma? Is
Trauma
it
unit
in-
was in Orlando, because we were like an hour outside. And
Did you get airlifted or something?
no, we
Okay.
just they just hauled ass in the ambulance, and it was so.
But still, hold on.
gnarly.
Excuse me to interrupt it, but you're in an ambulance for an hour getting to the next hospital.
Yeah,
Pain meds. I mean, how are you?
no
how are
pain,
you-
no pain meds, really, nothing. It didn't. I think I had so much. I have like kind of a high pain tolerance, and I like just a lot of adrenaline. It started really hurting about 2.5 hours in. Like my whole face started swelling up.
Once
and
you were
started-
at the trauma unit.
Yeah, after I got like my own bed and everything, I was like, yo, you guys need, I was so exhausted and I was so bummed, because I was like, my eye is done. Like I do not think I have a left eye anymore. Like
And you haven't even seen it yet. Nobody's showing you.
No,
a mirror or a
and
picture.
well, I may have seen glimpses or a picture, but it was so bad. My whole like, dude, it was so bloody, and my pupil was obviously exploded. My pupil exploded. My like there was lacerations like or you know like obvious trauma to my left eye severely. Or I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't believe that's my eye. I'm like, it looked so bad. It looked so bad. And then I got back to, I flew straight. It was gnarly though. I got like pretty bad care. Like,
what did they do in trauma then?
They didn't do anything because they was like, they needed to get like a surgeon there. And the surgeon took almost 10 hours to get there to check it out. Like, and it was like, he came in at like 6 in the morning, had a flight out at 10 or something, or like 9. And he's looking, he's like, okay, I'm not doing emergency surgery right now. Go back home, see a specialist right away. Because like my globe didn't rupture. My like my actual eye didn't like, the contents didn't spill out. So,
oh my God.
Wow. So I was like, it was like, so okay, like
there was still an opportunity to save the eye without doing emergency surgery. Was that?
Yeah, it wasn't like, there wasn't shrapnel in there, and there wasn't like, so he was like, okay, like we're gonna see, because there's like eyes are so intricate and everything, and
yeah.
They're like, we're gonna see, like, you need to go see a specialist and see kind of how. And dude, for like a week I couldn't see anything.
So
it was
wait,
black.
You flew back to LA?
Flew back to San Diego.
On a Delta flight? Just coach?
Yeah.
Would you just wrap your face up and everything?
They just put it over, and I was like trying to tell them too. I'm like, hey, like I was still like all high off of whatever they gave me too, because like, and I'm really against like pain meds usually. Like I really try to avoid them at all costs. And I was like high and out of it, tired. I'm like, hey, I got to get the hell out of here. I'm going to miss my flight and like miss the specialist like appointment when I get back too. And like, they're not discharging me. And I'm like ripping my IV thing out, like my thing out. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to discharge myself. And I'm so out of it. And that ward, that Orlando hospital is so damn big. And I'm like, I don't even know where to fucking go. And I'm like, and I like asked the front, and they're like, okay, we're going to discharge you right now. Like, I can't believe you ripped out your thing. Like, but they were like not stoked. I'm like sick. No.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Nobody was with you. You were by yourself. Nobody came to the hospital.
Yeah. Nobody came.
Wow.
Yeah. Not even the dude who threw it. So it was pretty crazy. Yeah. I was like, I was like beyond.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. I was there. I was like, you know what? Dude. It was gnarly. And I came back and, yeah, I mean...
Wait, so you get back home.
Yeah.
Now what happens? Because you're still, like, dealing with it, right? You have to do another surgery.
Probably, maybe not.
Okay.
Probably not. I think, like, so this is where I'm at now. I've gotten 2 surgeries since then.
What were they for?
So I had to get I had like a gnarly cataract from the trauma. So they removed my natural lens. I have an artificial lens in my eye now. They did a vitrectomy, which is like the contents, the back of my eye spilled into the front. And they thought that was like hiking my eye pressure up. And they had to clean up like whatever got pushed to the front, like because your eye is in layers and stuff. And that ended up not really working. Like I just like my natural reservoir was destroyed in my eye. So now I have glaucoma and I take medication every day for it, several times a day, you know?
Herbal?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not herbal. Yeah, it's beyond that. Yeah.
Because the higher the pressure in the eye, the more likely you go blind. Is that the correct? Okay. So did you start to regain sight? Because you said it was started blurry. It was a glaucoma type, cataracts type.
So my eyesight's like I lost like probably like 55% of it in my left eye.
But I'm sure when you started to get a little bit of vision back, that was promising.
That was sick. I was stoked about that. But like, yeah, it was, absolutely. Yeah, I was very stoked about that. I was like, okay, cool. I'm not blind in my left eye. Yeah. Like, thank God. Wow. And it started coming back. I was lucky enough, dude, with what happened to my eye. Like, they were blown away. Like, it went around the entire like Scripps hospital, like everybody in like all the I'm go to different hospitals now in San Diego. We're like, oh, I heard about your eye case. Like it got put up to like the front of the board for all of the eye specialists and stuff up there because
Like, you got to check this out.
it was bad. It was
Wow.
bad. Yeah. And like, so I had like a lot of people, like I had 3 different specialists looking at my eye. Now I'm down to only one, which is like my pressure one. So that's the last thing that's like
Okay.
kind of, we've done everything we can for the vision, you know?
Is that based on
And-
just the challenge of like the where your eye was? Like,
What's that?
As far as like all these specialists trying to step up to fix it.
Yeah, I think it was just they're trying to get my vision back as
Right,
much as I
okay.
could and figure out like what was wrong because there was just all sorts of there was just a lot of trauma, there was a lot of blood, there was a lot of things like in the pupil like that you can kind of notice it in my
It's
left
a bigger
eye.
pupil. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's more noticeable than others. Like I think the last surgery they actually tapered it down a little bit, but it's always like it's like a floodlight is always coming in. So like
Yeah.
skating at night's crazy because my night vision in my left eye is super bad and like it always is bringing in like a lot of light.
So if there's a lights and generators on, that light is being amplified
Totally.
into your other eye.
Yeah.
So it's way brighter than
Yeah.
us skating it.
Yeah. But I ignore it. Like I'm pretty like it's like I've
Wow.
You must have gotten
Just-
used to it, like a little to an extent,
You have to
maybe.
adapt.
totally
Yeah.
absolutely like I mean dude like the human body is so crazy like
Yeah.
everybody like you adjust to anything like honestly like you're
It's resilient.
totally and
Is this you? Is this what did you pull up here, Raj? Never mind.
yeah that's
Is it so that your right eye right there is well, it's your left eye.
My
but
left
on
eye.
the screen it's the right there.
Yeah.
That's the
Is that really you?
yeah
Oh my!
yeah that's pretty noticeable at least it looks cool.
well, at least you have some vision. I mean, this
Totally.
could have ended very much more tragic than it did.
Yeah, totally. Like, so thankful that I got back as much as I got back. And dude, like, honestly, I feel like I'm coming into like a new chapter in my skating too. Like, I
I was
don't
gonna-
even like feel anything. Like, I feel so much better on my board than I ever have.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, though. Here you are. You had, I don't know what your vision, 20/20 vision. You could see perfectly. And then now you go into this one where you said you have maybe 55% loss vision in one eye. Like, how do you adjust on your board? Do you have to make adjustments? Do you have to get used to seeing, or for that matter, not seeing the full spectrum of what you're doing?
So I think it was like a combination of like not stopping. Like I never stopped moving my body. That's when I started rock climbing is when I kind of actually, when I almost lost my eye because I was like, I can't lift weights right now. Like I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. Like it was so painful to have rapid eye movement too. Like your eyes move so fast when you skate. You like
It's
don't.
so much, yeah, for sure.
So like it took so and like my pressure was so unstable and my mental health was in like the dumps. Like I was freaking out because I'm just on so much medication and I'm fluctuating and we're figuring it out. I don't know when I'm needing like this another surgery or not. Like the third doctor that I had as well, she's just like I think she just thinks I'm a maniac as well too. Like she's just like I think she's like, what is this, dude? Like what is like? So I didn't like it was just I wasn't stopping like moving my body because I just like always want to progress in something.
So when you started the rock climbing, was that you couldn't jump on your board right away, right? So you thought that was maybe
Yeah, I wanted to keep my like grappling strength and like learn something cool
okay.
and stay fit and also just
also
kind
training
of
your eye, like to
training my eye
grabbing
to-
something and knowing that it's like right there instead of like
like the
right?
depth perception
Depth-
thing.
Thank you, the depth perception.
And that was a huge thing too. So when funny enough, when I got back on my board, like the first day I really skated, I felt pretty good.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, actually like this isn't even really a problem. It kind of was, but I was just in my head. I was just like, let's not engage with that thought. This is what we're working with now, so let's go. Like, let's get to work.
Did you
know?
think that you weren't gonna be able to skate again?
No, it wasn't that,
Yeah.
but it was stressful. It was like kind of like how much is this going to hinder my ability to like to do things? And it's definitely like if I'm going blind or going switch front side, it's super blind this way, but it doesn't like I can kind of feel what I need to do, you know? And yeah, I didn't like, dude, people have been dealt way worse hands and been able to, you know, push through it. I always tell myself that. I'm like, it is what it is. Like life is heavy and gnarly and like you just have to be able to roll through it. Like that's it, you know?
I admire that, bro.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, that's the way you have to go about it. I mean, like you said, you're going to sit here and be negative about it and just be like, fuck, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you just push through.
But also to that point too is you never know what other people are going through,
damn.
man. You never know you know what I mean?
That's a crazy story, dude. I can't believe that you went through that.
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like straight up, like it for weird reasons too, like it made me way less of like I grew up kind of being like on edge a little bit, being kind of an angry dude. Just I think it was just angst and also other things, just trauma, whatever, you know, gnarly shit that you go through growing up, you know, and that led into like, you know, kind of my adult life. And when that happened, like my eye injury, like funny enough, like, you know, still polishing that always, but it really like it put me in a different headspace. It was like I can't feel sorry for myself. I'm like I can't be pissed off at like, you know, it was really hard not to like hate the person that did it. And like I honestly hate's a big word. I don't hate nobody. Like, but it was just like not to be angry and not to be angry at like what the situation was, what I was going through, you know, the person, how they reacted to it, you know, and like kind of just be at peace with this is what this is now. And like, let's just, let's see where this goes.
Were you
know?
around this person all the time?
I've known him for a really long time, like over a decade, you know, like we used to skate contests together and stuff. Like they're also a professional skater, but like, you know, just kind of morality and like different ways of living kind of separated us. And and that kind of that secured that for sure, you know, like that was just like,
well, it's like, I mean, now looking at this and like you have that Thrasher cover and like with what you went through,
He's got almost 11 minutes of footage right now, too. Like he's on fire.
When you're like, I was crying, and I was like, I would be I'm proud of you. Like, you do go through all this stuff, and then you get this one thing you always, like, just never thought you were going to get, like you said, and then it comes out, like, oh, it's rad to see, man. Like, you just didn't give up on just something happens to you, you know?
no, man, I can't. Like, I'm too stubborn. Like, I'm just like, I'm like, I also love this shit too much. Like, I want to keep doing it. And also, like, I just think, like, I don't know, man. Like, I would love to, I feel like it's like, you're only 27 and, like, this, like, prime time of your life for so long. And it's like, let's make the most out of it, you know, and try to keep, you know, because honestly, it's like, it's a little bit of a struggle right now. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, it's not the easiest, like, especially like, I think the industry itself is in such a, it's changing so fast all the time.
Yep.
And like, it always requires a little bit, like I require more of myself, but also I think just skateboarding in general requires a lot these days, you know, if you really want to like do this shit. I'm just trying to like, always, you know, temper that sword, you know, sharpen it and like keep it going. Yeah. And I feel like I'm just coming into like my second win here, you know, where I'm like starting to like progress more, be really, really stoked on skating and just appreciate where I'm at, you know?
You got to, bro.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Talking about things like the Thrasher cover, 11 minutes of footage that you're sitting on right now. We don't know where that's going, but it's going to be dropping soon. But also turning pro, right? King of the Road.
Dude, yeah, that was crazy.
First of all, King of the Road is just in another realm as well.
Man. Yeah.
But then to get like, bless this like, you know, turning pro there must have been
Yeah, it was
something
so
else.
weird. Like that whole experience, like it was so okay. Like publicity wise, it was great, sure, but oh my god, that was a nightmare. That like that show was. It was so bad. Like the hours we spent on the road, like. It's so funny because you're like, oh, it's so goofy, but it's like, dude, it was so like it was grueling, like, and the challenges were gnarly and gross. Like, genuinely, everybody was ready to kill each other in the van, like,
Sure.
and everybody did, I think, at one point get violent with each other in the van,
Wow.
off camera. Like, there was just like. And it's all out of love too. We're all very close, you know. The Creature, like especially at that time, that period of Creature, like the unit was really tight, you know, because our team was just smaller, and it just what it was. But it was so like ridiculous. I like look back at that and I like cringe. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I never want to watch that ever again. I'm like, but also at the same time, really stoked. Like, got my board on there. My mom gave me my pro board. Like, it was so cool. And then like the ending was really sick. Like in Hawaii, we got to like go and like swim with sharks and like it was
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, no,
that was sick. Like
all the teams got together in Hawaii, right? That was the finale.
yeah, which was kind of wild and random. Like, and that was the finale. And we had a really cool pad. And
But wait a minute. What was the pro thing like? Your mom was there. They flew her out. Like
no,
this is like
she,
a plan.
She lives in California. Like I think she was living in San Diego at the time, and we were in San Diego, and
Okay.
she was doing challenges with us the whole day. It was so funny.
What do you mean?
She was like, I forgot, like, because there was like a challenge with somebody's mom or something. Like they had to grip a board. They had to put together a board. She put together like my setup or something, or it was like or she gripped like Willis's board. I can't remember. It was something like that. And it was so funny, and
How'd she do?
With no guidance.
she did great.
She did great.
She did great.
With no guidance, like, hey, this is how you do it, or just like
I
do it?
think she's also watched me do it enough times. It's like it's not the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, but still,
it
you
was
know,
like
yeah.
I think I may have given her like a few pointers, but it was like so she came down, and it may have been directly in the morning, but even before that. Actually, before the challenge that she did that, and it was super cool, man. It was just like we woke up, but it was also I didn't get to enjoy it that much because it was like, all right, now we're on to June challenges the whole day.
Here's your
It was
board.
like,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay,
Let's go
cool.
get some
Like,
points.
let's go get points now. Like it wasn't like, you know, like sometimes like I almost was like, oh, like. We're not like gonna go like hang out at a bar all day and like just like get the
At least
party,
go to
like,
Busters or
like
something.
yeah, I was like okay, like or whatever, like fuck it, yeah, cool. And then so that was we got the board. I obviously shed a few tears, was super stoked, and
You had no idea you were turning pro. They didn't go
No
over
idea.
any graphics. They
No,
didn't say anything.
no,
It was
no.
just like boom.
Yeah.
That's it. That's cool.
Yeah. Funny enough, the dude who did that graphic behind you, he
Yes.
did my first graphic as well.
Oh, so
which
they surprised you with that? They reached out to him and then did it.
yeah,
behind
he
your back.
did. He did a crazy graphic. It's like it's definitely there was like it was a black bag graphic when they like there hasn't been
Wow.
I
haven't
don't
seen that
even
for a while.
Yeah.
I don't even know the last time somebody got a and there was
What was
obviously
there, nudity on it?
it was
why
just
it-
there was just I think there was just some nudity and that was it. It wasn't like crazy. It was just like it was really 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 cool. It was a gnarly graphic though. It was super gnarly. I remember, but he's such a rad and talented artist,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was like we did. I think it was like one of those, and then.
Okay.
I think there was like a Jay Howell deck too that we did a series of. That might have been right after. I'm not quite sure, but super sick. It was rad, man.
It's a special time, man. You know, turning pro,
It's crazy.
doing
Big
your
time.
thing. You know,
Yeah.
like you said, half your life you've been with these people. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a
it's an
trip.
honor.
Yeah. I still like. It's really cool to just be able to say like, oh, I ride a skateboard for a living.
Oh,
you
damn.
know. Yeah.
Right.
It's so cool, man.
Professional. Then the next question is like, oh, you know Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That's always
Exactly.
good.
Yeah.
It is a
He
strong
probably
go-to.
skated. Skate his ramp.
Yeah. Oh, I go over to his house. I'm like, oh, is this your new olive oil that you've invested in? I'm like,
You skate that ramp a lot?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, a ton. Yeah, we've been like this last year. That's pretty much all I've been skating because it's just been so. Dude, padding up for some. I mean, you get really smoked if you get hurt. Like if you slam hard on vert, you can get really smoked. But padding up like saves your knees and like you can just have fun, play around, and like catching sessions with Tony or with like Bucky. Or with like all these people, like, dude, it still trips me out to even be like acknowledged. Like, really, it does. It trips me out. I'm like, I don't even get it. Like, I don't even know why. Like, anybody appreciates my skateboarding that much. But hey, I'm very stoked. And like to see these dudes like that, I literally was like, it's like it's so weird. It's like surreal, Sure. And like skating with them, and then like it's just so funny, man. Like that is, it's still like. Tickles such a funny part of my brain. And it's rad like watching Bucky skate still. What the hell, dude? Dude is so good. Like, dude, he's still one of the best. Like, he does shit nobody else does still.
Yeah.
Like, I watched him do like one of the most insane runs. He skates exactly how like I hope I can skate one day.
Right.
Not
right.
like I can't keep up with Bucky right now. Like there's no way. He's so in a league of his own. He's always been like that, It's so cool.
What a
dude.
star-studded cast down there.
Yeah.
I mean, just going in maybe running into like Steve Caballero or all these old school dudes too, these legends.
Yeah.
Must be a trip. Like, oh shit, I'm gonna skate with
so many
these dudes today.
Yeah, so many histories too. Like so many like generations skating the ramp at one time, and you're like, oh, it's literally Steve Cab. He invented the fucking full cab. You're like, it's like,
It's so cool.
Are you snaking him?
yeah, and I'm snaking him. I'm just no, Steve is like the sweetest dude. It's just cool. It's like it's all of it's so rad, and like I feel so stoked to be like inspired again and like be able to go and like share that space with them and go and like skating with like Jimmy and Shay and all those dudes. Like, man, it is so crazy. I'm just like, my mouth is just like open the whole time. I'm just like, what
is it like? So when you're going on sessions, are you just like skating and not filming? Are you filming? Like, what's that like?
I mean,
like when you're on those sessions, I mean, like
mostly just skating. Like, I feel a little like sometimes I feel a little insecure filming in my pads because I'm like, I don't know if this is up to par. Like, it's this weird, like, there's this weird.
Even on vert, you feel
really
sometimes, yeah. I don't skate. I don't think like super conventionally like on vert, which like I'll pat myself on the back a little bit for, but also at the same time, I'm like, I feel a little like now I feel better. Like actually in like this like newer stuff I'll drop. Like I have some clips of me like wearing pads and stuff, which is cool and different. Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like also like right now, like I feel like I also like my learning curve is kind of, it's been a lot better lately. Like I have like a weird thing of watching old footage of myself, like even things that are like from like a year ago where I'm like, man, that's kind of weak now. I'm like, I could probably do something different or whatever, but I think I'm just kind of always searching to kind of do something different.
That's normal though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're our own worst critic.
Yeah.
You have to be like that to a certain degree, I believe.
But I always find it funny to me that like you'll skate Washington Street or something, you don't put on pads there. But to me that looks gnarlier than the vert ramp does at certain parts.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I think it's just I think one, like pads kind of can create a like a mental cushion, and like that's not always good, especially, and just also it kind of looks weird if like you're doing it outside of like vert. Like vert's kind of the only thing I'll wear pads on, but it's just because it's enjoyable and like you can just fly and skate for longer and just it's just it's more, it fits that,
Right.
Like,
Well, it's like, when you're filming out in the streets or anything too, you're not putting a helmet on or pads, obviously.
that would be, where's that clip at, dude?
I don't know anyone that's really done.
Andy Anderson, but
that's
not
like
with
his
pads.
thing, though. That's his thing.
That's his thing. Yeah.
But like, I always trip out because to me, like the DIY spots look way gnarlier.
Oh, dude.
Like the steepness and how quick they are,
And it's
everything.
concrete.
It's concrete. I'm like, that looks like I'd rather wear pads there than
I
personally.
I think that's kind of just the culture of
Yeah.
it, though, too. You know, like it would just look kind of weird.
I feel you.
And just like certain things, like it's a feeling too. Like
Right.
I just like certain things just feel weird to wear pads on. Like I would rather, and honestly, it makes you skate different. Like, dude, Grayson Fletcher's the biggest like example of that. I swear, like you put pads on him. I've never seen him really wear pads, but he kind of has come down and skated the ramp with us a few times. And even when he wears a helmet, he skates different. Like you need to like put him like is the gnarlier.
What do you mean he
the
skates
better.
different though? He
It's
just
just
has more
like-
It just looks
confidence, or he
different,
just
though,
looks
'cause you're
different.
so
It's
used
just,
to
it's just, it's like I swear, like if the more like if it's gnarlier or whatever, like if it's like if he's riding, like he'd rather ride the vert ramp like in his socks than he would with pads on. And there's actually clips of him riding in his socks on the like doing truck bashes and
my
stuff. Like it's
God.
so funny.
That dude's gnarly.
Yeah,
Dude, he's
super
out of
gnarly.
his mind. I love it. He's out of his mind.
I feel like you being with Creature for so long, like half your life, but also like you've had sponsors that, you know, like you used to be with Red Bull and Vans, and now you're with, you know, you're getting Adidas stuff. Like, how is that changing? You know, like Red Bull
Yeah.
must have been good.
It was,
you know,
dude. It
at
was
a certain point, but what happened? What was cool?
Yeah, it was sick. It was well, okay. It's weird. Like it's such a touchy thing, right? Because like that's when I was getting paid good money and like, you know, everything should have been all good, but probably when I was like in my mentally in my like worst place, you know, like addiction wise, I was probably like that was like my most heightened sense. Just not in super optimal like shape mentally and physically. Like I said, plateauing, like just scraping by. And it was just like kind of like this weird thing. Like I think when you're navigating like environments like that, like especially like with the Red Bull one, like it's funny, not the coolest sponsor, but it can be cool if you put your foot forward and you direct it in the direction of like, be like, hey, this is what I want to do. And this is where I see the vision.
Interesting.
And I wasn't in that position at that time to do that. Like I was so out of it. My concerns were not that I just like wasn't even,
You were just getting a paycheck.
I was getting a paycheck and I was just out to lunch, dude.
It's like
And I
floating
was
by, huh?
Just
Yeah.
floating by and just kind of like just riding a crazy ego high and just like kind of just like thinking like, oh, this is just gonna float in. Like I like just so delusional, dude. Not seeing what it was, you know. And I think especially being over there because Red Bull does do some cool things, man. Like they
100%.
For sure.
they do some dope things, but they also like they're such a huge company that if you don't go and you're not an established person and you're not absolutely being on point, being like, hey, like I want to do this project and I want to do like we're gonna do this for like Red Bull TV or whatever, and that almost happened during during the end, and then it all kind of like fell apart. Like for example, like Matters has a super cool Red Bull TV show, you know, and like that's putting your foot forward and knowing your direction.
Terminal Takeover, like
Things
that's
like that.
Wooten.
Jake
Yeah.
Wooten, like he put his foot forward. He wanted to do that. I feel like Red Bull not only is the energy, but they're facilitators, right? You want to do something, they'll try to facilitate what you want to
They'll
do.
give you the
Totally.
reins to kind of like do your vision, which
Totally.
is really rad. If you step up to the plate, you could come up with something really special.
And yeah, and funny enough, like I was given a really cool opportunity towards the end where it was like we talked about doing like a travel show, kind of culture, skateboarding, whatever, and we shot a really cool thing. It was in Marseille. I think it was like earlier. It was maybe that year. And we shot this like awesome, dude. It was so cool. It was the crew that we did it with was rad because they were all skaters, and I could tell they were on the fence. They were like, they didn't really know what it was like. Ended up just being really sick. Like I think we used actually one of Riley Hawk's like one of his old band's songs for the video too. It just came out really cool and tasteful.
Huh.
And I think
was
there
this ever released? Sorry.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
I forgot what it was called. It coincided with the Marseille Bull Rippers contest though, and we did
Okay.
that, and it was really dope. And it was maybe that kind of gave like insight to like, oh, like Chris could maybe do something like this. But it was kind of at the end, like it was like Park Series was ending, and then like all this momentum kind of like took a big stop, and then like Vans took a different direction as well. I've been riding for them for about like almost a decade at that point, like for a long time. And I think there was a mixture of a lot of things, man. Like talk about kind of, you know, not being in the best headspace. I think there was like a lot of moments where I could have been a lot more just on point and been a little bit more well put together, you know, and like appreciated like what was happening in front of me instead of just kind of
hard
like
sometimes though,
it's
bro.
so hard, dude. And like you're just like in your young 20s, you're crazy, you're boozing, and like that culture of like what I grew up on skating on, of like just being gnarly, like Dustin Dolphin, like that was always screaming in the back of my head. It was who I was as well too. And you know, it got me
You're almost playing into this persona.
a little bit. Yeah, totally. And it just like, you know, I'm sure it was really fun for the people who were like partying with me, but on the receiving end of it, like, you know, like there's definitely a lot of times where I'm like, fuck, I was lame. That was whack, you know, like where I look back and I'm just like that was not where I should have been at, you know? And I didn't like really appreciate like what was happening, you know, with the Park Series thing was super cool. And it's a shame that those like contests kind of stopped, because now it doesn't seem like there's really any events like coinciding with transition skating. Maybe it's going to start to happen again, you know, but
Well, you were winning Park Series.
I was like at the beginning I was, you know, and like I think I was a little bit younger, and I was like that first year, right? And then like I just kind of started being inconsistent too, and then like everything else that followed with like kind of like, you know, not being on point and not being sober. And
so were both of your contracts coming to an end at that time?
so literally right before COVID happened, like it was like I think just everybody was like scrambling, right? Because it was like marketing was changing. Like I think there was a few factors, right? Like I wasn't in an optimal place in my life to be like hey, we should keep him around. Like nah, I was like I wasn't on point, you know. You know, totally makes sense. But I think also at the same time, it wasn't just me who got cut off. There was a handful of really, really good dudes on the van side who rode for transition. They got cut off. Like Tom got cut off like right at the same time. And he dropped like one of the craziest parts of like all time. And it's like, it's so funny. I like look back at like how I was skating back then. I'm like, man, this is like, I'm not even
This is the Park Series in Marseille.
No, this is a Huntington.
Oh, that's Huntington. Excuse me. Sorry.
Like, I didn't even think I was like, now I look back on this and I'm like, I feel like I'm in a different spot, you know?
You look different too, bro. Board shorts, like Red Bull hat. Like
right, yeah.
No beard.
No beard. Got older.
It's a different guy there.
Yeah, the years have, well, I don't know if they've been unkind.
You look a lot wiser now.
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, so I mean, I think just everything kind of came to an end, you know, and I was like going from being like really comfortable to like, I was like, oh shit, like it just got
Reality check.
real fast, you know.
Can happen.
You know what though? Like that's what makes us better people. You know, like
Totally.
I think life's a lesson. It's an experience, right? So yeah, you ups and downs. If you don't have downs, what good are the ups?
Straight up, I think like it's a test, you know,
Sure.
and it kind of like, and also there was kind of like a sense of like kind of breath of life a little bit to it. I'm like, okay, I'm not wearing the hat anymore, you know, and like,
Did that hinder you? Like, did that make you feel weird?
the Red Bull hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did. Well,
Sometimes I like tried to embrace it a little bit, but then like I think there was.
Well, some people, like, it doesn't bother some people, but I feel like, you know, in your realm, the way that you skate, it's a little different, like, than like Creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what
But
I
at
mean?
the same time, like there's the monster dudes. There's the like I feel like there is those.
Monster does a good job though, because they don't like make you wear a hat. They're like, hey, just throw on a little
patch or
and
something.
they don't even like really care about that. I feel like too. Like they have a little bit of a different idea of like marketing and like image thing. Like Red Bull's like, you're gonna wear that thing.
It just
all the
sucks if you don't
time.
wear hats.
Huh?
And you have to wear a hat now. But again, it depends on if that check is nice.
But also, I can
Then-
see you wearing a Monster hat more than I see a Red Bull hat.
I mean, the
Yeah.
green creature.
it
I mean,
matches. It matches.
it
That's
does
why I
make
was
a little
like,
bit more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Would you entertain a Red Bull or a Monster again?
totally, I
Yeah.
think in the headspace where I'm at now, for sure. I just
You would
think
do it differently.
100%. You know, because I'm a lot more secure in like what I know, what I want in life. You
Right,
know,
right.
and kind of just when you're so fast and loose, and like you're in your young, like when you're in your 20s, and you're just like so like. I don't know. The frame of mind is so different, you know? And yeah, I think if anything like that ever came across me ever again, I would have a very like articulate plan.
I think if anything came across your table again, I think you'd have a different outlook on everything.
Yeah,
at this
absolutely.
moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is awesome.
I do think Red Bull has gotten better at the marketing of like how they present it on people. Yeah, I've seen people not just having to wear a hat anymore.
Okay.
Like I've seen some people with patches on and stuff like that.
Oh,
So,
really? Yeah, I
yeah.
have no idea.
So they're
I've,
changing it up a
I've
bit.
seen it, so I was like, oh, that's good.
Maybe
But-
they get it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it takes time too, because at first, like, no one has a head. Like, you're talking about headspace, like that's like prime time.
Yeah.
When it comes down to like
For sure.
skateboarding all the time, but yeah, I could see it back then. It might have been a hard thing for you to like keep skating like that, especially making all this money, but like you feel like you're probably making all this money, but you're kind of conscious about this thing on your head.
Yeah, strange, right?
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
then like it was just there was so many factors of just feeling not like just secure in myself in general. Like, and I think it just like ended up just exploding, you know? I mean, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was dark, you know? Like it's not like something that everybody like like I said, talking about like battles that you don't know people are
Sure.
fighting, you know? Like it's just it was that, you know, that common case, you know, and you know, it's a lot, you know, and it's forever work, you know. You're always kind of working on that, you know, especially if you come out of it, you know. It's like you always got to kind of pay attention to yourself and then learn over time to start trusting yourself again too, because that's a crazy one.
It's
like,
also-
am I making good decisions right now?
It's also giving
Like,
yourself like,
yeah.
you know, like reminding yourself, you know, oh, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do, you know, and then it kind of then becomes a routine where you don't have to remind yourself. You're just kind of automatically doing stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
Dude, I was tripping out when I was listening to Carl Watson's episode on here. Like his ability to navigate things through like just things that truly were like part of his heart, you know, like that were just, I was pretty blown away by that. Like it was gave me so much more respect, you know.
Passing up iPath deals or what was it?
No, it was
iPath,
Osiris side deal.
Dude,
deals,
I was
right.
tripping
Yeah.
out when I heard that. I was like, wow, that's crazy, you know? But then, and he made a reference, it's all a part of the story, though. And he
True.
was like, I wouldn't be sitting here, you know, if I did make that. And, like, that's a lot of things, you know? Like, all these bad things that happen and accumulate through our lives. Like, if there's a lesson in it, then it's probably not wrong, you know? And if, like, you can learn from it, then, like that's just that's a part of the story, man.
For sure. And
Yeah.
luckily we have skating to like help us fight through those.
Be that anchor.
Big time.
You already know.
I always trip out on skateboarding how through my personal experience where like you love it, but then you go through the highest of it, you're so hyped, like nothing will stop you, and somehow you get to this lowest point and you sometimes you love it, but you're like, I don't have this attachment right now.
Dude, that could be overnight for me. Like one day I could be on it, and the next day I'm like, oh my God.
No, but it's weird. It's weird though. Like you said though, you're coming back from this eye injury and everything, and like there's this resurgence of finding love. Not that you've lost love for it again, but you find this different way of going about it, and that's one of the funnest things about skateboarding. To be
Totally.
honest.
I
Yeah.
think it just like you can just get irked on things, and like it's just weird thing of like stepping outside your comfort zone too, and being like you're so comfortable in doing these things over and over again, like that's, and then they're like, this is what you're known for doing, like on a skateboard, and then like going and starting to suck at things again and stuff, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
appreciating that and
Yeah.
appreciating the suck, like that's a hard thing to like
Appreciating
I
the suck.
really appreciate the suck now. And like I was like there was like moments though where I wasn't down with that, and it was like this like just
You
this
didn't appreciate
pure,
the suck.
No, and it was just like I think it was like a deep ego thing. Like it was just like I don't know. Yeah, I think like I'm like so hyped on skating on from all angles, you know? And I think that's the big you just have to be a fan still. You have to be stoked. You have to be a fan and you have to be a pupil still in this life, like in general, like with the things that you really love, you know? And like that like applies all across the board to like almost anything you want to be better at or just want to continue doing, I think.
Oh, dang.
Also that you found like the rock climbing and the jiu-jitsu, that helps take your mind off something, but also excited to get right back to it.
And it's challenging.
Yeah.
Totally. I wish I didn't love that stuff so much because it drives me nuts though too when I'm like not doing it.
Oh yeah.
And then like, dude, I wish I was just like, it's so funny because like we're great in like skating, you know, and then you want to be good in these other things, and it's so like dude, it's so hard. Like, dude, rock climbing is the hardest thing in the world. It is like, and then you go and like you're just like, I don't know how anybody is this strong. And it's like a whole different, and it's crazy because it's almost like, I mean, it's not the same age as skating, but like people have been climbing forever since dawn of time. But like trad climbing and stuff like that, and like sport climbing, like it's about the same age as skateboarding and stuff, and like the progression of all, it's just so trippy. Like, dude, what humans can do physically, like,
And mentally. Some people do the free climbing.
yeah, it's
No
fucking-
ropes.
It's nuts, dude. It's just like how strong. And then you go and you put your hand on something outside and you touch it, like this little piece of granite, it hurts so bad to put your weight on, and you're like, and it's like a 5'11", which is like, they use like a grading system, and you're like, this is not even close to the hardest thing that people, and you're like, this literally seems impossible. You're like, I do not know how humans can or get this strong or this like can adapt to just anything.
Totally.
It's crazy. Yeah. But
How do you use your time management doing all these things? Like, as far as like,
I mean, dude, it's
obviously
just,
skating's priority, and
yeah. Well, you gotta accept that you're probably gonna suck at everything else outside of skating, or be at least so far. Like, luckily, like skating, like is so grueling that like you can apply that grit
Exactly.
to everything.
the discipline.
You know, and like I feel like you have a huge step in anything that you want to learn, like, and you just gotta be like playful with it. No, be like, okay, I'm not gonna be the best at this. Like, I just gotta progress at my level. Like, I'm gonna progress but it's hard not to get obsessed too, especially with jiu-jitsu. Like, I remember like the first few years I was training like a lot, and it was definitely like I didn't find that happy medium of training and skating where I was still skating like hard, but I was just drained as well.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot to find the rhythm, you know.
Man, you've been through a lot, dude, and you're still young. You're
Yeah.
still kicking it.
Yeah,
you're still
I
doing
just-
stuff. I mean, I feel like,
7. Wow.
yeah, it's incredible, bro.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on 11 minutes of footage. You said,
Yeah.
Creature video. What are we doing with this? Are you gonna? You're not gonna have an 11-minute part, right?
No,
You're
absolutely
okay.
not. Absolutely not. Like, I think that people would. I don't even think anybody has the attention span for that.
I
these
mean,
days.
for me, a video part, I need to be hit over the head. I need to
Totally.
be. I don't need to be bored by it. I just need your best shit. Not you in general. I'm just saying, like, in general.
No,
I want to
totally.
see style, but also want to see the best of the best skateboarding. You know?
Totally. Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna do this OJ part, like I said.
Oh yeah,
like,
the OJs. Okay.
We're doing that thing, and then kind of whatever. We're just gonna have this chunk, and I'm like, I don't know, like if like new opportunity arises, like stoked on that. If I have to go a different direction, you know, who knows? I mean, it's so weird, right? Like that, talking about like the landscape of like skating constantly changing, like like we're like skateboarders themselves are almost like their own media outlets
Yeah,
now.
no doubt.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, who know, like, I don't even know what that means necessarily yet. Like, but yeah, I don't know. All I do know is like, I'm going to stack all this footage. I'm going to skate, put my head down, like, and see just where it goes.
I love it.
You know, and
that's the
and
way
that's
that you
kind
should
of-
do it. That's the way that I kind of grew up skating and doing it.
Yeah.
Was just kind of going with the flow. You know, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, because if you start getting too wrapped up and being like, okay, like I want to start right, like you definitely should have a plan, but you shouldn't expect too much, especially right now. Like it's so hard.
day.
Like
All day,
it's
bro.
hard, man. And there's always like, it's funny you say I'm like 27, I'm young, but like, dude, I feel like.
Well, you've lived more lives than a
Well-
typical 27-year-old.
Well, what I was gonna say is like I feel like 27 too, though. Like it's hard, like for like skateboarders too. Like I feel like sometimes people think like your best is behind you sometimes,
Okay.
and I feel like for skating, like but funny enough, I feel like if you ask like Danny Way or like Peter Hewitt or like a lot of these people, like you ask them like, hey, when's the best you ever felt on your skateboard? They're like 30, 31, like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
yes,
it was for
sure.
you guys too. I don't know.
30
Like-
for me was like I felt like a warrior.
That was
It was
like
the year.
wisdom meets
Yeah.
like
Like, I
everything meets the peak right
Exactly,
there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I mean,
The best years are yet to come.
yeah,
Straight
that's
up.
what I'm saying, you know. And I like honestly, I think age is only a number, especially now. If you take care of yourself and you know, like mentally and physically, you want to do this. Like, who like is to say you can't keep pushing? Like, look at like I said, look at Bucky. Like
We
you
got
can
so many of them now, bro.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have too many legends and pioneers in this bitch that are still holding it down.
totally,
So I think that's obviously inspiration for some younger guys. Obviously.
totally,
And inspiration for us.
Yeah.
To see our peers like just still doing it is pretty fucking remarkable, man.
yeah. It's really cool, man.
It's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, and I think that was just like, dude, like, also you see all the older dudes that do it, like, dude, those fools ain't boozing, like, they're like,
They're
that's just-
training. They're
Yeah, they're
training.
training.
and like and skating. Yeah.
yeah, but it feels good though too, man. Like that's like it. Honestly, at the end of the day, it does feel good. Like,
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
Are you gonna film? Or wait, not film. When you're doing your part next, are you gonna be editing your part with somebody, or you let them do it?
probably with Chris Farcatapine. Like he's gonna be doing the OJ thing, so I'll be with him, and like we'll probably talk shop and stuff about it. We're gonna definitely nitpick like what goes in there, like song wise and length, and
I was going to ask, what kind of music?
I don't know. I mean, like I've always like skated to like pretty heavy stuff, but then again, like I mean, I listen to everything, so
Right.
maybe it might be something different.
Let's
this
lighten the
time.
mood a little
Nice.
bit.
Lighten it up, man. You know, with all this like Buddhist practice I've been putting in, let's lighten it up a little bit. You know? I'm just, I don't know. We'll see.
You might be skating to wind chimes.
Yeah,
you know?
we'll see. Yeah, or like some Thai flute music. You know, like who knows?
Let's
Like,
go. Dude, David Gravette skated to what Mongolian throat music? What was it?
okay, I'm so mad he skated that song because
Really?
low key, I showed him that song and I'm like, I kind of want to skate to this, and he's like, oh, this is sick, and then I was like, dude, are you kidding me?
You're like, I should have never showed
I
you,
should have
bro.
never showed these fools this song. That band is sick. They're like a Mongolian throat singing metal band, dude.
Never heard in my life
Wow.
of Mongolian throat
No.
singing.
It's
but it
so
worked
many
so
genres.
good for David Gravette. It probably would
Yeah.
have worked good for you too. But
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I was pressed about that.
It can still work for you, bro.
You know, yeah,
Find
no.
a different song, dude. Find
No,
different
yeah.
Mongolian throat singing.
No, yeah.
Or whatever it is.
how rad is David Gravette?
He's so sick. I love David. He's such a fun dude. He is out of his mind.
He's out of his mind.
He's out of his mind. That dude's put himself. I don't know if there's anybody who's been more beat up than him.
His hip used to pop out of socket and he used to pop it back in. Like he is a maniac.
Yeah, dude, he's insane, dude. I love him to death. Like, I love going on trips with him because I mean, it always seemed to kind of like bicker, but like in a fun way.
Yeah.
Like it's always out of love, you know. Like he's like pessimistic, but also like he's super funny. And he's definitely loves making everybody crack up, you know, and he's very good at it.
Yeah.
And I love watching him skate, and always been a fan since you know, Prevent This Tragedy days. Wait, he had a part in Prevent This.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Yeah. Raj says yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite videos growing up. Sam Ibaka opening up. He had a part.
Didn't Andrew have a part? Adrian Allen?
Andrew, I think Andrew Allen all set apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is it.
There he
Dude,
is. This is. I mean,
Couldn't be
he's like
insane.
one of the. I mean, he's one of the forefathers of like insane handrail skating, dude.
Right.
Like insane, like where he was at that point, he was pretty untouchable, dude. Like he was the dude.
And to think, you guys used to be the best of friends until he used Mongolian throat
I know,
singing.
dude.
in
I'm gonna
his
kill.
part.
I'm gonna kill him, dude. No, I love him so much, dude. He's honestly so rad.
He is. He's the best.
We've had so many funny times on the road together, and like, dude, he's been skating so good for so long. But dude, that guy does not know how to fall. Like he scorpions, like like, dude, we're gonna watch. We'll see a clip in here where he scorpions for sure because he scorpions so much.
50180.
I don't know
dude.
why. Dude,
That
so
was
sick.
gnarly. I didn't expect this dude to make me laugh so hard.
He's so
funny.
funny.
I cried last time he came on the show. I was crying laughing.
He's
dude.
so funny. He's got so many good stories and just like, yeah, I love him, dude.
You guys got a good team, man. You guys
do
got
have a good
really,
team.
really
Yeah.
solid
We
team.
got some characters for
I
sure.
love it, bro.
Yeah.
That's a part of it, bro.
Yeah.
I wish we got like, it's so big now that sometimes we don't really get to take like these
Okay.
trips that like, cause dude, I mean, Gravette's an OG on the team. I consider myself kind of an OG too, cause I've been on for so long.
Just
you
14
know?
years.
Yeah. Like, I feel like if you put on, you know, a decade or more, then you can kind of have that right.
Oh,
And
dang.
I always think that I think the same thing too, right? I mean, there's so many like OGs on like Girl and Chocolate, but we never get to go. We never get to go on these trips, or you know, if we do, it's kind of few and far between. It's like let's do some OG trips. Let's get the band back together. Let's do because I know, yeah, it's all about the young kids. Like 100%, they're killing it. But like the OGs, they're. You know what I mean? They're such
Yeah.
a big part of these companies.
Totally.
You know, that,
They don't
Yeah.
do it anymore, bro. There's no money for these guys to be doing tours
I mean,
anymore.
that's true too.
You know?
That's
But the young kids,
Unfortunately.
are the kids that they put it down, dude. When you go on these
Totally.
trips, and then the old dudes should just go to dinner together and hang out, and then like the young
film it
kids
and put out a part.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But you know what I mean, though. Like
That's usually what happens.
But there's a lot of people that I don't know. Maybe I miss the nostalgia.
Oh, no,
of
for
going
sure.
on a
I'm just
tour
kidding.
Of course.
with my buds.
Yeah.
And hanging out in the van and getting mad
Totally.
at people and having
Yeah, and
fights and
oh,
bickering
those-
and then going to dinner and
All those
skating.
other things besides skateboarding.
Totally.
Yeah.
We missed those
Oh
those
my
those
God.
times, which
Yeah.
obviously they're so resonated in us. Like, wow, man.
yeah.
I think like
it's
a
far
good
few in between now.
like a good tour now could be like a couple OGs and then like the younger generation.
I'm not saying leave them out.
No. But like I'm saying, like, because then these kids get so hyped, and you have these OGs there. You go to all the places. Everyone remembers the OGs. And
Yeah.
that's who you talk to. Everyone, whatever. And the kids just hold it down and skate like crazy.
down for that.
So
I'm
it's
down
like
for that.
it's super well-rounded thing. Like if
Yeah,
you go to like
yeah.
skate shops.
Sounds like
whatever.
an ideal tour for me. I don't got to skate the demos. I just tell
There
you,
you
I'm
go.
good.
Yeah. Creative director, you know,
Yeah,
pretty
man.
much. Yeah.
Well, dude, I can't wait to see the footy. I can't wait to see what song you use because I'm going to be listening. I'm going to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
is this going to be the Mongolian or is it going to be some flute song?
Yeah,
or is it
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be some wind chimes? We
Yeah,
don't know.
we don't know, dude.
Right. Or just keep with the death metal stuff
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
it is. But, dude, congrats on everything, man. I'm so stoked for you, dude.
Yeah, man.
And, bro, thanks for coming on the show.
I'm so
Can we give you
stoked.
some 9 Club stuff to take
Absolutely.
home with you? Bro,
Yeah,
If you wouldn't
absolutely.
mind, Kelly, would you do the honors, bro?
t-shirts?
Large. Yeah.
Large. I wanted to also ask you before we dip, because I did hear a story that because your parents were very supportive of you skating,
Yeah.
right? Very supportive, and your dad used to take you around, and he was learning how to skate too. Is this true? And then he
He-
broke his arm, and then your
Oh,
mom was
yeah.
like, "No, you can't skate anymore."
That's so funny that you brought this up. I was kind of thinking about this story like yesterday. Honestly. Yeah, dude, he like broke his arm like 3 times. Through
No.
maybe 4. It might have been 4 times. Like
Skating.
seriously through
Thank you,
when
Kelly.
he was learning how to skate with me.
Was he getting good at skating?
Yeah,
though?
he was learning it because my dad's like a great waterman and he grew up surfing. He grew up
Okay.
knowing how to ride a board a little bit, but he straight up like dropped in on a vert ramp before I did. And like it was so funny and it got me hyped. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he dropped in first on the vert ramp before I did. It was like so
Okay.
funny. Yeah, dude. And dude, it was so insane. It was at that Tim Brosh contest years before Creature and Lee probably was like 12, 11, 12, like, and the whole family's up there. And that bowl like has such a gnarly waterfall in the middle. If you take it directly in the middle, like you have to absorb, like, and you have to go slow at it or you'll get tossed.
Okay.
It's just like super steep. And we're there, we're at the bowl and practicing. He's just getting in there, he's skating. He's like with the older dudes and stuff, I think. And dude, he dropped in directly in the middle, didn't brace full, like straight leg, didn't brace for the waterfall at all, full bow-legged, just goes down and knocks himself out like silly, and didn't even see the broken arm or anything at this point. And it's like somebody runs over and it's like, dude, your dad got smoked. Like he got so
Oh my God.
smoked.
Okay.
And my mom was already on edge because there was like some like BDSM like kink convention going on, and we're staying at the hotel where all these like kink people were staying. So like at the continental breakfast every morning, there was like old people in leather walking around everywhere. My mom was so on edge already, I remember, and it was so funny. Like, I'm like, Mom, what is it? She's just like, don't even, like, it was so
You had no idea you booked this hotel.
it was,
when
yeah,
happening?
she had no idea. She just booked this hotel. It was like it was like a nicer hotel. It was so funny. She was so on edge already. And like, I think our dog got sick on that trip too.
Oh
and
my
then
God.
like,
Then your dad
that
knocks
happened.
himself
He knocks
out
himself
and breaks
out,
his arm.
breaks his arm, and he goes, and I'm watching him try to get out of the bowl. I didn't know he really broke his arm yet, and I'm like, his arm looks a little bit funny. And he goes and he tries to put his arm on the deck and push out, and I watched his right arm go whoop and touch the back, and I was just like,
no.
I was like, oh man, I'm like, that's not how an arm's supposed to go. And
He's gonna need some help.
it was bad. He ended up getting like a pretty gnarly surgery. I think they gave him surgery that day too. It was bad. He broke his arm like bad. And luckily, like, I always was like not too squeamish for that stuff. I feel like I just saw it so much growing up. Like seeing it, you just see it at the parks. People turn their feet around.
But so your mom put a stop to your dad skating.
Kind of.
Okay.
She put the kibosh on it a little bit. Like it was like
He still rolls around.
No,
assume.
not at all. Not at
okay.
all. Like, it was funny. No, honestly, it was so funny. I don't even think that stopped him. He got put in a cast, kept skating with me, cut his cast off earlier, broke his arm again. Like, he always put his arm, he always bailed bad with his leading arm.
Yeah.
And
How old is he at this
so I
point?
watched him
What-
break
what-
his arm like 3 or 4 times.
How old was he when he broke it at that bowl contest or whatever, the Tim Branch?
Okay, so he's like almost 60 right now. So that was
Mid-50s maybe?
No, he's almost 60 right now.
Oh,
that was
That's
when
22.
I was like 11. So that
Okay.
was 17. Or wait, that was 16 years ago. So yeah, he was like
Mid
he was like,
40s.
yeah,
Okay.
mid 40s or
Okay.
just turning 40. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What a funny, that's
That's so interesting,
How
right?
rad is it
Yeah.
that your dad was taking it up right when you were taking it up? And
Dude, he was going for it. Like, he was so sketchy, but he was sick too.
he was so sketchy.
He was so sketchy, but he was sick. He was like, he was grinding like the deep end of the combi and almost hanging up. And like, it was so rad though. He was holding on,
Wow.
dude. It was sick. It was honestly really rad. I really wish he would skate with me again. Maybe one day.
Get out
Maybe
there
when
in a
he,
session.
maybe when he like
Get him a couple
retires.
wrist guards.
He's about to retire,
Okay,
so maybe.
okay.
So he's like
Yeah.
58, 59?
Yeah. He's like 59 right now.
Yeah, get him out there, dude. Go skate the park or something.
Yeah.
Keep it mellow.
Keep it mellow.
Keep it
Yeah.
mellow. That's yeah.
That's his motto nowadays. Keep it mellow.
should be
I don't think
keyword,
anybody
right.
keeps it mellow in my family.
Go for it.
First of all, Chris, dude,
Hey,
hey, pleasure,
thank you,
dude.
pleasure.
Thank
Hey,
you so
thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah,
The
thank you
door's
for rolling
always
through, bro.
open for you to come back.
Man,
But
appreciate
we do
it.
have some 9 Club stuff. We got a 9 Club. Kelly, is this a hoodie or a
crew neck.
Crew neck?
A
You,
little crew.
you down for a crew neck? You
Absolutely.
like the-
Yeah.
Here's a 9 Club crew neck available on the 9club.com for you right there. You a coffee guy?
Yeah,
Tea?
absolutely.
Okay, listen, when you're driving up here to go to Channel Street, Nice little
There we go.
9
Could
Club
always use more of these.
coffee little thing holder, and then get some beats going at the pool. At the Channel Street or Washington. There's a Terrain mini skull candy, man. Get those beats going. Have the
Sick, dude.
Thank
you.
Mongolian throw music.
There you go.
There you go.
Or Thai flute or Mongolian flute.
Or some Thai flute or some wind chimes.
Some wind chimes, dude.
If you want to get a vibe by yourself, though, here's some earbuds for
Appreciate
you.
it, man. Thank you guys so much, dude. I'm
course,
really stoked to
dude.
come on and, talk a little bit.
Bro,
Yeah.
this has been incredible,
Glad you
man.
made it, bro.
Like I said, the
Absolutely.
door's always open, man. Come
Thanks,
back
you
and
guys.
kick it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, Chris
Thanks,
Russell,
guys.
everybody.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, you guys.